There we go. Hey, good evening. Go wait for a couple. Oh shit. Go wait for a couple people to get in here and get started on this. All right. There we go. Down. All right. All right. All right. Welcome this evening and thank you for joining. I've got my buddy Fletcher with me this evening and we're going to be talking about tie-dye and doing tie-dye stuff. So, as the title says, I'm going to do an F16, but I'm going to show kind of the emphasis. The whole point I'm doing it for is to get the inside of something inside of a design. So we're going to do that twice tonight. We're going to do that with a F16 and a love bomb, which is a fun little design, which is like a little outline of a bomb with a heart apostrophe mark inside of it. So if you checked out my Instagram at Kai Dyes, you would maybe have seen that already. So, without further ado, this evening I'm going to be using Fruit of the Loom HD cotton. This is what I usually use. Let's see how well this looks real quick before we get started. We do have a storm going on right now, so we may lose internet, but hopefully we don't. Let's get that all the way back. And I'm going to do this kind of backwards and stuff. So we're going to try to get you the best view. And I'm going to start with turning this shirt inside out because sometimes these markers will leave a little mark, but if it's on the inside, it won't show through as bad if it does. Something I'm learning recently.
Yeah, they're supposed to be washable markers, but sometimes
the pigment gets stuck.
Sometimes.
I always get a little anxious doing these live videos because it's kind of weird doing this while everybody's going. But usually I'm in the room talking by myself, so I don't feel so bad now that Fletch is here. He flew all the way in from South Carolina, from the swamps out there to the swamps down here, and says it feels not that much different. What do you think about Louisiana so far, man?
Trees and stuff are the same. Other people look the same. Air smells the same.
3/4 of the population don't wear a mask the same. All right, so we've got our shirt inside out, and we're gonna get a nice fold down the middle to get a center point. As so, sometimes people will leave a mark down here, but I just leave my finger. Saves some time. Find the bottom of this collar, right there. The top, very, very bottom of it will be the very center. And you can match it up by seeing the seams inside of the collar. Your two different ones, if you match those corners up, you'll get the perfect center, especially on these shirts. Not every shirt is like that, but these unisex shirts usually do.
Doesn't the brand matter?
Sometimes.
What you're referring to when you said these shirts, or you're referring to unisex shirts?
Unisex shirts, I think, usually have a pretty even center, pretty easy to find. Some of the ladies' shirts, they've got like different angles, and it seems like they just the seams kind of overlap to the left or to the right just a little bit, and it kind of throws off everything.
That is a thing.
All right, so we've got our edge. I'm not going to fuss with the sleeves yet, because once I start getting all this in there, I can stuff those in as a final thing before I scrunch it up and band it. So, let's see here, it's about right here. There we go. Let's get that, and I'm going to start with drawing the jet. I'm kind of going to get just a good idea of what it's going to look like. I don't want it to go to the very bottom and the very top of the collar, but I do want it to be, you know, kind of center mass. So I'm not going to make it huge. Let's see.
Do you freehand all of your drawings?
Most of them.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I've done like a couple stencils here and there, but for the most part, I'm gonna pull about an inch below the collar to get a good center on there. And we're gonna just kind of kick it out there, throw the fuselage in there. See if we can do this all in one go real quick. Get a good wing angle. You know, I'll just use a cheater ruler. So I guess it's not too free-handed, but we'll get a good angle there. Little swept wing action.
Is this shirt soaked in soda ash?
This shirt is soaked in soda ash. I always tie my stuff damp, so I'll soak shirts after pre-washing them.
Oh, never mind.
Do I have something hanging from me?
No, it interrupted the feed and I thought it shut down.
Okay.
I was mistaken.
It happens. Before I do this, I'm going to get the fuselage. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to get this other little tail wing. I don't even know what this tail wing thing is called, but it's cool, like a tail fin. Get another quick angle on there. And then kick it back in. But you got to remember the burner. F16's got the single engine in the back, I think. I don't know. I may have seen Top Gun once, but I think those were F-15 Tomcats too, so kind of swept back a little bit, but not too much. There we go. Bill Lore, Mr. CC Torches repair guy. How you doing tonight, Bill? Thanks for checking in and saying what's up. I will definitely get in contact with you soon. Let's get the tail wing right here is about as long as that, so we're going to get a sharp corner right here, and we're going to kind of bring it around to about as long as this, and just we'll dye that the same color as the rest of the jet, so it kind of looks like just the top of the fin right there. We'll kind of get a little cockpit going on there, a little half action there, and there's usually some kind of weird little scoop thing right here. We'll just kind of accent real quick, and then I'll be the same color as everything else. Looks like a little hood scoop kind of thing right there. So we've got the jet. You know, could put little missiles on there, but man, we don't need all that crap. Take too long to go. So you guys can see it. We can see it good on the feed. Cool. So from here, I'd like to explain how I'm gonna kind of build this out. I usually like to start with like the smaller item on the inside of the thing before I do the outline of it. And I'll come around there, and that'll be the last thing I do. But I'll be taking note of several different corners that are going to have different turns. So the pleat height's going to matter for a lot of this, because when it comes to the corners, it's going to have to like bunch up and slam together and just swing perfect, and that's how they get the sharp corners. You kind of saw what I did there. I just bunched up right here, and then I bunched up right here and got two pleats, and then found the center point, and just kind of slammed them together so they go straight, and that'll be my starting point when I get to the outside.
That's solid. That's clean.
And that's how the corners, that's the sharpness of the corners. But
learn that.
Maybe whenever I do that again, when I start doing the outside, you can maybe pick up the camera and then just show it like from that angle, so we can get a good little teamwork here.
Yeah,
see if we can show them how to do that.
Let me know.
But I'm going to start on the insides, and like I had explained before, whenever I do a sharp angle or something, I'm going to get just half the pleat height on the very first bunch, and it's not going to be as high, so that I get a nice sharp corner when it comes back. Then I'm going to do smaller pleats on the inside items, so that when I scale out, I don't have to worry about it bunching up too much. If the outside line can be a little bit thicker, a little bit taller pleats than the inside. Now, my hand is in the way of all of this. It kind of sucks. Let me see here. See if I can do it backwards real quick. Let's see here. Put that shit around. Like I was saying with the half pleat in the very front. And then, let's see here. Try to get another pleat up. Go backwards. And then it goes right there into the corner. I want it to be the same pleat height. So whenever I do this angle right here, I can just bunch up this. And it stays square. And that line becomes that corner. Look, fold it down a little bit. And then just get the rest of the pleats to just kind of go straight. Huh. Like reading a book upside down.
It's possible, it's just a little complicated.
Just that one little guy right there. Don't worry about that little guy.
Hey, thanks, Travis. The shirt he's wearing is actually made by yours truly.
And if you had gotten the tutorial, you would have gotten to watch him make this exact shirt. That was fucking cool, by the way. Really cool that we got to get that shirt right off the press.
Yeah.
Well, like I showed you, I'm going to do this backwards. I can't do that backwards and still be able to tie it. Maybe there, if you guys can see on the other side of this, I'm just trying to get those pleats even. They're probably about a 1/4 inch high. Get that corner, and then get the other pleat on the other side of that corner, and then drive that line straight around. Keep that all straight to the left, and the last pleat will come up to a half on its own. And once you get all this kind of in the way, the rest of that's not even going to matter. Really, it can get flopped around all over the place. It'll stay in position more or less.
Yeah, I noticed that once you get it folded in half, find your center line, it tends to not stray from there. Once you got it smoothed over a couple times.
Yeah, as long as there's no wrinkles in there, and get like really, really weird about like extra, like the smoothness and the texture of the shirt really matters whenever you're like lining it up symmetrically. So I'm gonna wrap that line 3 times. Press it down. I'm gonna get my knuckles up and pull just enough to where it slips into place, but I don't want it to slip out. You can do that really quick, really easy. 2 wraps, press, pull. 2 wraps, press, pull. Oh, did I? Okay, there we go. I thought I lost scissors. Clip just the tail. You don't want a whole bunch of that string hanging off of there, and you don't. I usually, every line that I tie is going to be a different thing of sinew. I see a lot of people that just like keep it going, and then they'll pull these together and use the same sinew, and then pull these guys together and use the same sinew without really breaking the stride. So whenever they pull it, it's all like one little string that comes undone.
I can see the convenience, but I don't. It's probably not practical for every design, but I can totally see it being useful.
Down here on really sharp angles on things like this, might exaggerate that last little hook. Instead of it going straight, I'll thumb this underneath there for that half pleat, and now it'll come down to a really sharp angle. And then I just really want to make sure that it's as true to the line that I put there as possible. Tamara, I am very familiar with which branch of the military flies the F-16. I'm just not familiar with the jet itself or the components of it. Don't want to say too much, but my dad is worked with F-16s throughout his Air Force career, which is really cool. I really looked up to him for serving the country. Part of why I served, kind of following family footsteps and tradition is really cool. But ever since I was a kid, F-16 was my favorite jet. They just look so freaking cool. Anyway, we got that tail fin in there, and just like the other one, it's a lot of the same routine. Once you kind of get a process down, it becomes your routine. Tie once tight to secure it. Press down from the top while the sides squeeze in, and you'll get the best coverage for these, and you won't get too much slippage. Think of this line as like a rectangle. But whenever you're applying pressure, you kind of want to sandwich it down and then press at the same time, all right there, and keeping that line as straight as you can, especially on the very first pull. Get enough tension in there. Make sure your line looks like it stayed true. It looks like it did. Yes, tweezers. Tweezers for precision. Akuna's in here, huh? What's up, dude? One good buddy from waiting tables, man. You're freaking Cajun, aren't you, bud? Answer if you don't. But down here in Baton Rouge, I know he makes really bang fucking crawfish. All right, we'll get the rest of this fuselage. So we just get those and we just leave those just kind of hanging out, and then that's really all it takes to do the inside of something. Just leave it kind of hanging out. Make sure that your line is still there.
And the cabin is the last inside portion, and it's just outside of the jet.
Yeah, little cockpit, little action.
What did I call it?
The cockpit. I don't know. What'd you call it?
I don't. Cockpit's the right word, but I don't think I said cockpit.
I think you said the cabin.
Cabin.
That's right. It's close. Close. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure F-16 can fly off of aircraft carriers, but I'm not familiar with the military arsenal, but I'm sure they're capable of it. But I'm pretty sure they have all kinds of stuff that flies off those aircraft carriers. Those aircraft carriers are like they're like a city, they're huge. It's like an airport on the water, but a whole city supporting it as well on the water. Wow. Did you ever get up close to an aircraft carrier?
No, I haven't. Actually, I have been on an aircraft carrier, but I was very young, and I don't really remember it. I just know that I was.
Right. There's pictures proving it.
Yeah.
Oh man, my daughter's been saying that all day. She's like, I don't know who to talk to. You guys each look the same. So I had to put on a hat because he wears a beanie. So that way it's like, there you go.
Trademarked. If you're within 50 feet of me, you can't wear a beanie or I can sue you.
Oh, you don't have enough gray in your beard to be making statements like that. Bearded people and bearded jokes. Hey, Leanne, thanks for joining us. All right, and I really just do 3 wraps to reiterate that line and keep it straight. Each time putting more tension on it than I did before, so that it cinches down my little rectangle just a little bit further and puts enough pressure on there that no water really wants to come in between those. Some fabrics, you can literally rip a hole if you pull too hard. That happens. Learned hard the wrong way. I was doing like a rayon sarong, and literally just first pull, cut the center right out of a mandala, and I was like, well, that's awesome.
Rayon like that, though, it's like marshmallows.
Oh.
That's a terrible analogy. That's just my personal feelings.
Well, the tapestry behind me was a collaboration between us, and we can go ahead and show you that real quick before I get into the jet.
Yeah, push it this way.
I just moved the chair on out of the way. Fine. Let's see here. But yeah, it's a guitar with like, what is it, 9 mushrooms around it? With some more mushrooms in the middle.
I'm gonna get my phone and post a picture in chat.
Yeah, we'll have some more pictures of it up. We really haven't shown anybody, but if you'd seen the tutorial, you would have seen this as the backdrop. He kind of revealed that as the backdrop in his tutorial, which we'll get a link for that here soon too. But yeah, he did all the inside of this with his techniques, and then he lined up some strings and even the knobs and everything. This thing came out phenomenal.
Yeah, it was.
I couldn't be more pleased, like honestly.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about it too.
It might be available eventually. Kind of deciding.
Right now, it's a pet piece.
Nah, it just kind of hangs out. But all right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. And I like to tie most of my stuff from the bottom, because like my left hand's more of my guiding hand, and it keeps all of my stuff kind of in place. So we're gonna start with this. Like, if you can look, get a little closer. The first one is kind of like pitched up, so I want to find like about the height of the pleat by turning it, and I'll find it, and that's about as much as I want it to go. I want to get it completely in the middle of that first corner, so that I don't ever have to really mess with that, and it kind of sets the tone for what size pleats I've got going from then on. You can kind of pull those, pull the pleat ahead of it around to find that, and then push the two bottoms together, and it'll square up almost completely perpendicularly. And then you find it, just kind of move through there, find the next pleat, and the next corner. There's two ways to do corners that I had explained earlier. There's the double pleat and then kind of slamming them together, or finding the 45 in between, and then pushing the bottom of that other one down. There we go. Let's see here. It's like I'm hiding it. Like,
Do you want me to go into handheld?
yeah, do you mind like picking that up and then just kind of coming over it? Let's see here. Uh-oh. Got some help.
Oh, thank you, Nathaniel.
Got some help. Yes, dude. Hey, I'll tell you, dude, that thick dye is really... Oh, no, now they see our fake set.
How do I flip it?
You can flip it right there. Dude, let's see here. That one. All right, so we got this. Let's go ahead and just pull that all the way out. Let's pull that all the way out. So I'll pull that first pleat, and then I'll just get this corner. I want it to come up to about as sharp as that corner is, and then tug this first pleat ahead of it to find that second pleat to get a good clean height, and then smush those together. That's the first way of doing it, where you get a pleat on each side and then smush that corner in. Okay, is that helpful? Okay, let's see here. And then you find the next pleat. You don't want to like just make it too hard to move, but I really just line up this left side as the straight line that I want to kind of keep sandwiched and smushed. So let's see here, as that pleat comes up. All right, so I caught that corner, so I'm going to do the other pleat thing.
You're just like using the tweezers to grab your next pleat and pull it towards you?
Yeah, but I'm also using like these other fingers here to kind of spread it out a little bit so that I can get a straight line, so it's nice and smooth, and I know I don't have any like creases or folds in there either. There we go. Just slam those up together, cross that distance, and then we get to this one.
Crushing them. Man,
and we just find this and we push this line. We just kind of sandwich that together, and then use the sharp corner of this, swoop, and then turn it with the whole thing. Come back, readjust, smash both of them together so you know that you got them nice and square. Like I said before, and I just use this other finger, I guess my middle finger, my California howdy finger. That's how we say hello to people in Texas. This is what they taught me in school, at least. Okay, and then so I got that corner. Again, I'm getting lucky with this, so I can just pull up another knot, turn it around, turn my whole hand around. Now, if I get a hard corner right here, I can pull this out right here, this inside, but I don't want to pull it too hard out.
Wow.
I can just kind of pull this out a little bit, and I get a little more surface area to work with, towards a little bit easier. See, it just kind of gets out of the way for me. All right, cool. Now I come around there without putting too much stress on that corner as I do.
That's actually really useful information for me personally.
Yeah, don't be afraid to pull some of the fabric out. Like, the way that this design is, like, it's all going to be the same color on the inside, so it's okay, really. And then sometimes it'll play fun tricks. Right here, we can just pull this out tight. Much of that out as we can. All right, and we get that fuselage creep crease in there. Boom. And then we're back on our easier way. That first fin, it's kind of a pain in the butt. My left hand is kind of sore from the tension right here. But we're going to get through it. The rest of this is kind of almost like home free for the most part. Alright, so we're just going to kind of use our center to follow this line and try to get as perpendicular as we can as we go. Folding these pleats up. Now we got one that I think we're going to catch the 45. Alright, so we're going to just pinch up on the 45 and then turn that. Slamming this other base all the way around to where they match up in a 45 corner. Now that's going to be a nice sharp corner.
Nice. I like that term, catching the 45. It's real clean.
Now some of this will, like, it'll want to, I call it like taco fold or pancake fold. If it gets too much tension, it'll have a tendency of bunching up. A lot of times I have that steel block, but because of this and leading out fabric, I'm not going to have that. But I can kind of take a break with my hand because that bitch hurts. This view is better. Does that help out? Oh, wow. Yeah, that does look like it's a little easier to...
We're getting a real good look at what you're doing.
Wow, I need like a rack with like an automated camera across the top.
Wear it on your head.
GoPro helmet. GoPro helmet. But sometimes that 45 will kind of create like a weird bend. Kind of keep that fabric up. Try to keep that corner in there to keep that steady and keep its place. This is really small pleats. I probably should have gone a little higher on the pleats as I get further and further into this. Seems that it was a bit ambitious. Probably have enough room to get full pleat.
Now, Nathaniel says they have mouthpiece GoPros. By that, do you mean like a...
I am not going to sit here with a camera in my mouth.
That seems a little bit necessary, but I thought maybe it meant like it hangs around your neck like a harmonica holster. I don't know what those are called.
Harmonica. Here. All right. See, the line's starting to kind of take its own form, and that's okay. We can kind of readjust it as we go, pushing the tension where it needs to go. And then we get right back to work. Get back on our line. Toe the line on that thing. There we go. Now it's getting kind of out of control here. Wish I have a block up here. But it is being used on another thing. So it's going to have to wait. Well, shoot. There we go. That's the taco foil I was talking about. Let's see if we can just kind of cheat this through a little bit. I'm going to start right here from another spot, same pleat, and I'm going to just go ahead and start getting my line the rest of the way and just kind of starting, and I'll just kind of slam those two together. Because it's damp, it's going to kind of hold its place for the most part. It's kind of being trained there. And I only have like a couple pleat distance that I can really make up that gap with right there. Get back to it. All right. This is going to be a harder part right here because of that other tie. We're just going to try to get the shape here. Pull that 45. Looks like I can pull that up, and it looks like it becomes a little bit easier to manage. Try to get those lines in the way. And then we're almost home free. Another half pleat right there. So, come back here, just kind of walk it back. And those are already trained and ready to kind of get there. most of my support line.
With those other ties that you put on the inside of the jet, do they make pleating the outside of the jet any more difficult?
Yeah, like especially right here in this corner, that's going to be kind of a hard spot. But I think it's going to be okay. So I got a little thumb piece I can push back here. Kind of push this all around right here. So this is where it kind of gets a little jumbled up. Get it all back in line. These are freaking micro pleats. Whoops. This would have been a lot easier had I done like 1/2-inch pleats. Probably could still go back and go for those, but I'm not gonna. Go ahead and set my sinew. Metal blocks, they're called bench blocks, and the one that I usually use, the one that I've got so far, is the 4x4 by 3/4 inch. Oh man.
This is the part where I always wish I had 2 extra hands, but I'm not going to give it to you. I know you can do this.
You can do it!
I believe in you. What was the term you used for when it pops out in the middle?
Taco.
Taco.
Usually I like tacos. Now, I'm not going to pull this too tight. Right here, I got my full surface area down with my pinky, and I put my thumb down, and it pivots right up underneath everything. And I can get enough tension to know that that's where my line is. Get in here, and I can readjust a little bit more, too. I'm going to wrap this 4 times. Now it's kind of set. Now I can kind of come in here and give it a little more heave-ho. This little thing right here, like this looks like it's the wing spot. I'm going to pull this in kind of, while pushing these guys out a little bit.
Are you just trying to make that green line a little more straight?
Yeah, I just want this green line to disappear to where it's got like green fuzz on both sides as I pull it. So I've got this guy to help me support.
Oh, there's the magic.
There's the value right there. My PayPal is kaidives@gmail.com if you feel so obligated to throw a little digital tip. Because this will kind of help you keep it from taco folding as you get your first securing line. Set your line down straight so that you don't pull it against here, and you can just kind of give it a quick pull it straight out. Can use this knuckle and the thumb knuckle to kind of push down on both ends of the line. There we go. Kind of bowed out a little bit. You can get in there and kind of force it in there.
To work out.
There we go. And then because it's such a long, thin line, I'm going to secure it as much as I can, because there's a good chance that this thing could just push in half just because of instability of one or two pleats in there. This is where the brick really comes in handy, is getting both sides of that nice and straight.
What do you mean by brick block?
Yeah,
The
the steel bench block. And then if you get it all the way, the tension all the way down, it will not move.
That's fantastic.
These little strays right here, remove them at all costs, because if not, it'll carry dye. It'll carry dye from one end to the other where you don't want to leak it. All right. There you go. That's a line. It's going to stay there. We can do the rest of the project now.
Is which side is the cabin?
This will be the cabin up here, because remember their bulge was on the tail fin. So it's almost like our jets right here off the side. We got a little tail fin right here, a little hood scoop thing. We can kind of ball this all up. Throw a band around it to kind of secure it. When we dye it, when I dye it later on, it's going to be mist gray. And then like charcoal, a couple other grays, all the way around. Just kind of band that up, secure that. Pull all the way from this corner, get as deep into this corner as I can without collapsing it. And just keep all that fabric away from this other part of this fabric, and we're good. Don't really need to do a whole bunch more. You can identify that top part though. If you can't remember that the collars on the left side that's the collars at the top. We're gonna just mark it real quick with a blue for the canopy or the cockpit or whatever it is. And these other ones will just stay the same color. We'll just give it a touch of black to accent when we dye. Now's a good time to grab the sleeves, and we could probably come back and do the scrunch with the rest of it, and you can have a rest. Unless we want to get in close on the scrunch. Whatever.
You gonna do that now, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna do the scrunch real quick.
We'll go ahead and show close-ups on this one, and I'll let it go back on the rack for the next.
This will be perfect. All right, like I said earlier, matching up the seams matters. Get the inside of that seam of the sleeve, line it up as much as possible by pulling it. Now these are pretty much paired, and it'll match the seam all the way around. Now I'll just throw that all inside of that, and I just kind of work it all to kind of together, just bunching it, pinching little pleats as I go, trying to keep it a center mass, flat, more surface area for the color to just kind of dissipate throughout. You can kind of twist it a little bit, whatever, kind of go all kind of different ways with it. Come in here, pick between the pleats. You can roll it up, you can twist it, you can fold it over, you can do all kinds of things. As long as you keep it about the same height, you can do all kinds of fun stuff. Always had this weird channel down the underarms. Roll it up, do all kind of fun stuff, just to throw variants in there, but it's all just going to be a couple different colors afterwards, because I like to just do the F16 is like the centerpiece of this guy. This one is a 2XL if anybody's interested. Dylan Kaufman says, "Tell you say what's up." I guess I don't know who else to say what's up. Dylan Kaufman and I went to high school together. We had a grudge back in the day, and like we had a couple little conflicts and stuff. But growing up, we were like, well, you don't suck as bad as I thought you did. And it was like, okay, cool. And we kind of became kind of friends and stuff. It's been kind of an interesting story of growing up. One of your biggest enemies and all that can kind of become one of your better friends at some point.
Yeah, that's beautiful and actually pretty common.
Go. When we're trying to keep this down, this can taco fold just as easily as this. So we're going to try to keep that same square principle when we're laying our bands. And as I said before, I kind of do the whole support line where I lay my braces all the way from the top down.
You're in danger of tacoing this part too. Man, I would have already folded that thing in half. Impressive.
Push it in. Get more pressure to the inside and then down, and you can kind of work your way all the way through in there.
Actually, I need to go back onto the charger.
Yeah.
It is.
Thank you, Fletch. Thank you, man. All that schoolyard shit under the rug, man. Who lives in the past? People who want to live in the past live in the past. I want to live on the moon, so I'm going to keep on doing stuff that's going to get me to the freaking moon. Like crypto. You know, if you guys like that, follow me for more tips. I won't ever give like crypto advice again, but
Did it turn out bad?
I do it. No, I mean, I got a lot of friends that made a lot of money, and then I do like against my own advice, and I lose my ass, and I'm like, man, you know what? I'm never telling anybody something smart again.
Kaiju is not a financial advisor. Please do your own research.
Kaiju barely understands the alphabet. Now, after I come down and kind of like getting like my basic support, I'm going to get my angular support like a bridge in a sense. And cross, and then it's still giving the same pressure towards the center. So that's why I like bands over kite string. It's because of the elastic pressure. It does the work for me. I don't have to sit there and tighten that down. Like the band does half the work. I don't know of a band that does half the work anywhere except for a rubber band.
Well, I don't trust the rubber bands. I like to make sure it gets the tension I want.
Well, yeah, well, what you do, a little different. Had kind of an idea. I would like to do this like in public and have people like, hey, can you do a teddy bear or do a jellyfish?
You got it.
And be like, yeah, that'd be kind of fun to do random stuff in public. Be like, I'll do it. For one Ethereum. And we just kind of shimmy our support all the way back up, and it makes sure that we don't get a taco fold, and it creates a great surface area that's only about 1 inch tall. No, man, I reuse my rubber bands, dude. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Some of these bands I've had for the last 3 years, the ones that you see like when I pull them back and they pop and they fly across the room, they just become one with the floor and the earth.
That's how most bands end up for me, but they don't last nearly as long as you just said. I usually let mine dry rot, bake in the sun.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, speaking of rubber bands that break.
Yeah, man, we'll show you that tap again, bro. Like, we'll definitely get up and kind of Fletch will explain what he did to it. There we go. And I'll say I did the outside ring mushrooms, but Fletch really did most of the work to this tapestry.
I had a lot of fun with it.
The only last thing that I want to do is make sure that I'm pulling the fabric away from that line. So if I can get that rubber band that's up here on this top inside part and pull it inside of there, that'll keep it from swapping color from the other side. And I'll do the same thing, and I'll pull that up here. And I can split the band because this is going to be a little bit loose. And just since it's double banded, I can just pull that other one down over here to get the rest of that support, and then pull that up here and do the same. Keep that sinew back here so it doesn't run in, and then that's good. That's done. On to the next one. Now the next one is going to be like a little fun design. Just made it kind of like, I just want to do an exclamation mark inside of something, and so I did it. It was kind of goofy. I thought it was goofy, a little punny, if you will. The love bomb.
Love bomb?
Love bomb, it's punny. Alright.
I don't know what else you would have named it.
Oh, shit. I don't know.
It seems perfect.
Turn this bad boy inside out. Gunner's just, he's not scared of the storm anymore, I guess. Bumping his gums pretty hard. Getting a good even shirt to fall starts at the top. These seams really line up across the top in the shape that you want it to go. You kind of get those in good shape, the rest of it will kind of follow. Right. That's almost perfect for the sleeves. Get good. Flip that out. Pull out the corner seams. Inside out. Love bomb is another down the center symmetrical piece. So we'll do the same thing as we did on the F16, and we'll find by matching up nice and square those, pulling this back and setting it there, leaving it, pulling it up, and then finding the very lowest point of our collar, pulling it up, and then that's our center. Almost every time, if you get a good center, it's going to be great. And it'll line up these other seams right here for later use. Get your center, lay it down for drawing. I'm going to freehand this bad boy too. But this one, I'm just going to do the exclamation mark and then do a heart underneath it. And then kind of hope it takes up not too much or all of the shirt. There we go. Now I'll use this ruler to get my square. Bring that back perpendicular. And find where we want the heart to be. About here. Here would be good. Good sharp corners into the crest of the heart. Get a good round line that you're going to follow from the left. And then from there we can kind of find our outside. We'll kind of miss what we want this to look like. Probably make this a little bit bigger. A little more emphasis on this. And I'm going to cock that back a little angle. You can use your ruler to find a good square line so that it doesn't look like you've got it like comes in as an arrow or a diamond. If you want a straight line, you can use the lines on your ruler to get square across the whole way. Alright, a little bit of a divot, give it a little bit of room. That's the middle of the little rocket missile thing. Throw the fins way up here. I'm going to pleat this one a little bit higher pleat so that we get a little more control, and I'll show the difference on that. Kind of a little missile feel to it, like a little rocket. Its fuselage probably wants to come around that about angle there. Make it a little more accurate. Straight line. And then just like the drop, I'm just going to do like a little circle. And then it comes almost perpendicular to the center. So it doesn't look like some weird mound. And you can check it with a compass and stuff, or even like a coffee cup or something. You can find a good center on there to get that and see which kind of way to go. Get a good roundness to it. All right. And just like the last one, we'll start with the inside items, like probably the heart will come after this. This is nice and square and easy, and then this will probably be the second. Yeah, I'll go with this, and then outside, and then finish up. The outside of this is going to be like a gray color. The heart, you know, and the exclamation will be another color, whatever color you want it to be. All right. Get the tweezers. Okay. So I want it to be a little higher pleat. I'm just going to do one to the corner and then catch another one about the same height, keeping that corner, the trough of the wave, if you will. If you recall, pleats like a crest in a wave. That corner trough, you want to keep that center as you pull that around and you bring those lines square, and you'll have the sharpest corner every time. Get a little higher action on there. I like to do it straight, like as if I'm blowing glass. Like I kind of like look at this line as my flame, and I'm just kind of trying to keep that straight and keep everything going in the right way, the right manner. Sometimes these like twist up, and it'll give like a weird fold in between the lines sometimes. Top of the crest, push that trough down to the bottom. And then same over and over, repeating the same process. My ring finger over here does a little bit of the work too, that's kind of keeping this field open as I come and grab this, and it helps me keep these as I go all in place. So I'm going to do push the line right there to it, and I can just use the sharper side of my tweezers, come right around, get those, put that right in its place. There we go. Match them up so I know that it's going to do a nice square corner. All right, and then a half pleat on that one. Get everything out of the way. Pressure, make sure the line stays. Pick it up. That first one to secure it, and then wrap it 3 more times. Pressure, pull it all the way up, tight. There we go, and that'll give it a nice defined line. And every time I pull it tighter than the one I pulled before. So it pretty much just doesn't go anymore. And then you know you got a solid line. If you don't have the arm and hand strength, you can always like brace the arm and then pull and then like twist your hips back. It'll help slide that all the way in. Demonstrate that here real quick. Get those pleats out of the way. Since this is a closer item, we want to make sure that this is all still nice and flat and that line's nice and defined. Keep the pleats about the same height. Get that first half one, or get the 45 goes across there, and it gets nice clean line right there. It gets a nice sharp corner. every time when I just go halfway, and then the second pleat's the right height that I want it to be. Go get the outside of the line that I want to make sure that it stays nice and even. With a heart, I'll put like my ring finger down here towards the middle, and I kind of use that circle to kind of come around all the way, and I'll use this as a point to kind of pull out and keep my pleats a little more uniform and even.
Are you on the heart?
Yeah. So you're just keeping that center down. And the last one's a good little half pleat. Nice sharp crest right there. By getting that half pleat and then making sure that the line goes in between those and covers that, it makes like that sharp. You can even get in there with your tweezers and make sure that this all fits right in the line. Pull the other stuff back, square it up. Use the tools that you've got handy. Tweezers, chopsticks are a cool tool too.
I like using a cuticle pusher.
Yeah, dude, I saw that earlier. I was like, that is a freaking neat little tool. You also got one of those like fancy the puller. How do you like that with the nice channel in between with the two knobs?
So it
probably helps you with keep your hand down.
It is way more easy to pull without stressing my hands out.
Right on.
But I really like having it for fishing line so it doesn't spring off the edges of my roll. Because fishing line is unruly.
I think a lot of these people eventually have started finding that you just find this on YouTube after I'm done. I will upload this up to YouTube into a couple different pieces and try to break it up into 2 different or 3 different lessons. After we get done with this and we scrunch all the rest of it, we're going to be doing a quick dye job on the cat butt as I had added in the description. So the pleat height's a little higher than those last ones, so I'm going to go and get a higher pleat height. My first half is going to be pretty big, so I'm going to go and try to get them about, it's not a whole lot bigger. Let's get them a little more exaggerated. When you do like micro pleats, doing the larger pleats isn't as easy. You get them at about, about half an inch high. If the inside one is like 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch. Make it just a hair bigger, and everything else just kind of eases out. Like whenever it's scrunched out, it like kind of tapers up into like a higher pleat height over here. It makes it less prone to taco folding and stuff. If you keep everything, if you do like super small inside pleats and like super thick outside pleats, the rest of your thing has to be thick. Or else if you go back down to thin, it'll flip-flop all over the place. Kind of follow that line. Until you get up to this next angle, and then you find your new direction you're going to go. Let the pleats kind of come to you. So I'm going to do that and then put this one down in the bottom, and then just start new angle. Doing a straight line is all about keeping a nice perpendicular, squared up approach to it. Keep it square and flat. It will all like kind of come together. Looks like this one's an angle. Pull up and then just fold it over like a hospital corner. Did you ever do like hospital corners?
Oh, yeah.
So you're familiar with hospital corners. So then that's where I got the 45 angle. to get that, and then you kind of do the same thing as like if you were to bring it under and then tuck it under. You'd bring that line, the trough of this pleat, and then put it to the very bottom of that other line, as you would a hospital corner, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like the kind of like tuck and then the pull under. And it helps keep that square.
I don't know how to execute that, but it does make sense to me.
Try to find different ways to describe things.
I was having a flashback about making my bed.
That doesn't happen. What are you talking about? And as I come into this new angle, I realize that I need to give myself a little more room, so I can pull a little bit of this out to kind of give me a little more room to work with these other sharper angle. Yep. And I'll just pull that corner up. Yeah, that inside corner right there is really tough to get into. It wants to like make it all fold in. So that very top little sharp corner could probably be rounded out a little bit and not be so difficult. I'm sure if like to refine the design a little bit would do good.
I see you did the pull a little bit of slack out there to give you some extra room again.
Yeah, right here. Definitely. Because that coming down on that corner that starts out like that and then comes out to that other fin is a hard angle to work through. It's really sharp and it wants to tuck in there. But that's okay because whenever you do line it up, that little tuck in is gonna make a nice little sharp angle.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Got it. Press down the line. Pressing it from both sides of the line will help keep it as square as you can. Push that all in there. Terrible angle. I'm gonna get a better cameraman. Not saying you were a bad cameraman, but I need it so I can set it up and zoom it in and all that and have control with the remote so that I can be able to get a good sight on it. Maybe the GoPro on top of the head would be a good idea.
I'm willing to hold it while it's charging.
We're almost done with this. Then all I gotta do is scrunch it up. Go. Define the line and make sure that it presses down tighter every time. Like it cinches down and you got color on both sides, you know you've got most of the line under. I don't have it rolling over on either side. We're good. I'll go ahead and call that tight. Cut that line. We're going to go ahead and stuff the sleeves again. You pick that up over here. Pull your collar up to the sleeve. Pull that and get right in there. Should come out to where these two seams meet. You pull that out. And then find the center of that. You just kind of collapse that down. You just kind of fold that down. Since we've got higher pleats on this, we can make larger little area, little mounds and pulling in between the pleats. Sometimes you can get in between every single pleat and do that very same thing. Like you just pull out the pleat and then do like other pleats around it and try to keep it straight even. You can do all kind of crazy stuff. You can really control these little bunches and scrunches to however you like to. And playing with the way that the dye melts into the shirt You could create all kind of different patterns, all kind of different dye placements, all kind of different color combinations, and just the way that the scrunches flow, it'll mix the dyes almost for you as you blend them side by side and everything. They kind of come out all crazy.
That sure looks like it's dry.
It's almost dry. It's when I spin them out with a spin cycle to get as much of the liquid out of it, so that it's just the faintest bit of damp. Man, Gunner, you can hear Gunner downstairs. He's getting all rowdy. Should be asleep. I kind of thought this was going to take, a couple hours to get through, but it looks like it's not going to take that long to get through, which is okay. When I do these, I do them a little bit slower when I'm here working. I'll tell you, a little bit of stage fright and anxiety and stuff will kind of get you working a little faster than you need to.
Going for that horizontal support, and then you go back with the cross.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just easier to just pull bands down than it is to try to get around all this bunching crap over here. Since you already
100%.
have all this tacked down, you can just kind of pull it. And if you have any issues, you can kind of use your forearms even to support that as you go through here. You can put many more supports in there if you'd like to. It really helps to have as much pressure towards the center as you can, because it'll have more fabric touching different layers of fabric as possible whenever the dye hits that and disperses into its different directions. So give it different paths of resistance and it will do different things. It's kind of fun. I usually like to keep my tags sticking out so that I can remember, or at least have an idea of what I'm working on. Other times I'll use like masking tape to label something that's not going to like leave a sticky residue. So I think duct tape does. Kind of a pain in the butt. But like masking tape, I can write what I want to do, what it is, who it's for, and it kind of helps me organize that. I hate losing stuff. Sometimes I don't know what I folded. And it's like, wait, was that this? Or was that this? And then you end up with like a bright green heart because you're like, ah, dang.
I thought that was a Hulk fist.
Yeah. I thought that was a green apple. Darn it. You end up completely with something completely different and you're just like, well, I'm not completely mad, but I have to redo this. The diagonal work is really just pushing it all into different ways towards the center. And it does half the work for you, honestly, by having all of this tension to it. Now, I don't know if it would be quicker with a kite string, right? I just kind of think that I do like the fact that like cotton string, like you can just place the dye on it and it's not going to run down the length of the rubber band. Because I would say that's the only thing I don't like about rubber bands, is that the dye sometimes will just take a liberty and just shoot down the side of that rubber band. You know, it's like
It's like a super highway for dye.
Yeah, it's like I didn't want that to be green.
Just gets on the rubber band highway and goes.
Fuck your couch. All right. And we want to make sure that we don't have any of this fabric touching through the channel. So I'll get these kind of tacked down.
Do you smash that lump down?
I mean, you could, but if you put too much tension on it, that could rip. That could create a whole situation. So I just kind of like let that sit there, kind of get as much surface area out of it as I can. Bunch all that up. Maybe a little bit kind of crazy. Triple band. Triple band, I can take one of these, put it down here in my corner, pull that up over here, tack down that corner, use another part of that band, get the inside of that, tack that down so that those sides aren't touching. That's why I like the triple band and the double band. You can do all kinds of different things. There we go. And with one rubber band, pretty much make sure that none of these other fabrics are going to touch. This one looks like it's going to touch.
No touching.
No. Yeah, if only my kids could understand that one. Jeez. Is this something about like 8-year-old and 10-year-old kids that they just almost want to fist fight every time they like walk in the same room together? A little twisting. Let's tame that back down, and we're good. All right. Flatten that out. This will be color, another color. I usually do like a gray or a black, and then I'll do like a rainbow color for the rest of this because that's more fun. Oh, you knew it was going to be you.
Oh, hey Tyler. Welcome to the stream.
Oh man, he knew it was going to be you.
I wonder how you knew that.
All
Can
right.
you tell us how you knew that? Just a good guess, or did you have some clues?
I don't know if I had clues. Hey! Gunner. Oh no. I'm almost done, buddy. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Gunner, I'll be done in a second. I know.
Ah. Those are good hints.
I'm almost done, Gunner.
The tie-dye detective, Tyler. I'm gonna move this and show you all this tapestry again while he's getting that cat butt together.
I'm just gonna do a few colors.
Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, Kai was kind of hiding the fact that it was a guitar. That's the secret. He did the outside with those sick purple mushrooms. And I did all the details on the inside of the guitar. Hey, welcome back.
Yeah, keep telling him about that, man. You did a lot of work on that.
Yeah, I did.
How many times did you have to like dye and rinse it?
So I only needed to do it 4 times, but I ended up doing it 5 times. And honestly, it was done after 2, but I just kept going back and adding more details just because I thought it needed them.
Ah, no.
Thank you, Murray. I'm not sure what our plans are for it at this moment, but I super appreciate that sentiment.
She might be able to get it. She's cool. I don't know. I think it should be up for everybody. You know, and
Nah, he already implied it. Cool people only. That would be cool. I wonder if it's possible to make your car actually look like a picture of fabric instead of just being painted as a tie-dye to make your car wrap look like it was fabric.
Like a matte? I'm sure they've got like a matte finish.
Well, Tyler was talking about covering his car in that design, and I was just thinking about
What in this one, the guitar design?
Yeah. Can you imagine it on a hood?
Yeah. Yes.
With like all the purple mushrooms, like different angles going down the side of it.
Yes, I actually can. I can imagine that. So, something I've been realizing as I've been dyeing a bunch of stuff recently is sometimes I'll do the design first, and then I have trouble doing the rest of it when I flip it over. So I kind of just do one side as if I'm ready to just flip it over. So I'm going to go with like a blue, green, purple background, and I'm going to do like a gray cat with a little pink butthole, the heart. It's the little butthole. So that's going to be that color. So I'm going to start off on the back side. A lot of times I'll hold it, and I'll just kind of find like which way I want to go with it. I'll do a light blue down the middle because I want green and purple to meet. So I know that blue is going to make a nice meeting point for purple and green. Right. And then we'll do our green on the bottom because like grass is green, I guess. Sometimes, unless you're in Texas and it's like brown. Get a lot of that green over here. And then tomorrow I'll get a picture of it after I rinse this out. I've got a bunch of other stuff that I've dyed today that I'll have like rinsed out. Some things I'll get pictures of, some things I won't. Haven't been posting a lot lately. Haven't really been meaning not to post a lot lately, but it just happened that way. Been really busy with the kids. A corgi butt. Hey, Dylan, for $100, probably do a lot of things, buddy.
Like custom tie-dye.
Like custom tie-dye stuff. Alright, this is going to be my, hopefully my lighter purple. I'm going to be upset if it's the same one. No, it's the dark purple. Cool. We'll just do that on this side. And then I'm trying not to make the green and the purple go together, because they'll create like a brown color that I don't want. So the blue makes a great meeting point for those two colors to bleed into. And then I'll come down with a darker blue right down the middle as well. This is all still just the kind of bottom side right there.
What you're doing with the green and the purple, it seems like common sense or common knowledge, but it is it's
yeah, the purple and the green will make some gnarly looking colors, but using a color in between the two complementary colors to use as a blender will help it not create like an unnatural looking mess. Unless you want like an earthy look to your dye, which is, you know, cool. We'll get this mist gray. Just kind of fill as much as we can with this. I don't want to get it too close to the lines because I'm going to do a darker gray around that. Charcoal gray. It's just a couple steps up, but it's not quite black. And then some hot hibiscus from Dharma. One of my favorite pinks.
one of my favorite pinks too.
The hot pink sucks. Like that, like I thought it was like good because it was cheap and shit, but boy did I learn, you get what you pay for.
Here's a pro tip. You can actually dilute hot hibiscus to make pretty much any tone of pink that you would want. And that's why I love it so much, because it actually saturates versus a lot of other pinks that don't.
I'm going to go ahead and get some more of my black dye down before I do the other side so that I don't have to flip this again. I'll just flip it one time and then I don't want to mess with it on the other side again. secondary lines. Just barely, and then just a little mess of a thing. And then we just flip it over. And then finish it just really quick. Just get the rest of that dye on there. I've done a few hundred of these, it feels like. Made it so I can do these guys pretty quick. Will be that action right there. Looks like red ran off on it. Do just a black line on the outside of that before I put any color down. We'll see how that looks. I haven't done that before. So that'll be the experiment on the piece, just to kind of see what's up, see what happens. Probably gonna just be the darker right there. I'm gonna go grab a light purple real quick. Be right back. Alright. Not a whole lot of this left.
Sounds like enough to do the job, though.
Yeah, a little bit goes a long way. That'll just kind of bleed, and it just kind of keeps bleeding into it. Right there. So having alternating shades of colors kind of gives a different effect, a different blending effect. Fletch thought I had like 3 or 4 colors on a shirt earlier, and I was like, no, it's just kind of 2 and black. It shades out differently. Or it was, I had 3 on there.
Yeah.
But it looked like 4.
Yeah, it looked like way more colors than I thought it was. Or I mean, I thought it was only 2 colors, but it was way.
Yeah, more. But it's just like an effect. It looks like it because the 2 colors blend in to make a few different hues of colors, which is kind of cool. This is a darker green. I used a bright green, and then this one is Kelly green.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, it's a richer one. It looks almost tealish whenever you put it up next to a blue, and it'll blend in and kind of like make a nice like in between blue and green. Then here we go. The saturation indicator that a lot of times other dyers have told about, but there's these fuzzies that will pop up whenever you just barely put dye on a bone dry. I don't know if it works with wet. Usually the damp ones don't usually do it, but the dry ones will pop up a little fuzzy thing, and then you can kind of find out from there that that's where you need to add a little bit more dye. You'll get a little more saturation and less white spots afterwards. A lot of people, whenever they kind of start out, they're like, man, why's my shirt got all this white spots? Well, sometimes they could have put more dye into an area, and seeing those little fuzzies go into the shirt and disappear will help that. All right, a little more gray over there. It was looking a little light. All right, and then we finish off with a little last bit of that black, just enough to get into the little crevices, little spots bleed into it. I don't want to drench it. I don't want this black to soak in and overpower. Oh, there we go. If I could just spray it on there, a lot of times probably be even cooler. There we go. And that's the cat butt. Dyed. I'll have that rinsed out some point tomorrow and probably have a picture of it the next day after it's like hung dry. Oh, see, like over here, more fuzzies. Just hit that.
Oh, we should have tried to get a close-up on those.
Oh, the fuzzies?
Yeah.
Damn.
You have a visual representation of what that means.
Yeah, it's just kind of here, a little bit of it over here, but I can't really.
A good example.
Yeah, I mean, you won't be able to see
that's
with
visible.
the camera, maybe.
I think.
Pull that up. Let's see that. Corgi butt. I think if I could do a cat butt, I could do pretty much any kind of.
You'll have to maybe come towards me.
Here, unplug it. Yeah, enough. Right there. I can't even tell because of the lag. But it's like right here. You got a little bit of fuzziness right there. along the outside of that didn't come out and get enough dye on there. But you can like literally
sort of picking it up.
You could just drop literally a little more dye on there, and that
kind of see some here too.
And that'll just go away.
There.
See, and it just literally just disappears.
Goodbye, fuzzies.
Just goes away with just enough dye. There you go. And that's how you can get your max saturation into your projects and know what to look for. All right. And we're going to leave it at that. I really appreciate y'all checking in with me this week. After this, I'm going to upload it to YouTube sometime tomorrow. But you had a good time. Share, like, tell everybody you saw it here. Thank you.